So hi all. So in today's session we are mainly going to discuss about that is nothing but integration of your DevOps tools together, guys. Okay. So integration of DevOps tool, why it is very much mandatory. Okay, to understand this one, how your GitHub is integrated with your Jenkins, how Jenkins is integrated with Maven, and where this testing come in between, where is this Docker stands, what is the point of having this Kubernetes Docker Swarm, how Ansible is playing a key role to make all these servers scale up or scale down, guys. Okay, and there is also something in monitoring all these things. We have set of monitoring tools are there, right? Correct. So just try to understand this one, and other part is also in the interview. So they are openly going to ask you, they want to see how much you are efficient, guys, how much you are efficient in term of the infrastructure, means whether you are able to draw some infrastructure or not. Okay, whether you are able to understand your infrastructure or not. Yes, and that is also sure, I am telling you 100%, you are not going to get all these DevOps tool into a single place. So you are going to get bits and pieces everywhere. Okay, like suppose somewhere you are going to work only on Docker Swarm, Kubernetes. Somewhere you are only going to get a chance to work with the GitHub and Jenkins, that is CI/CD pipeline. Somewhere you are only going to work with the Ansible and the Jenkins, guys. So these are the combination. So how I have learned all these things, how I have implemented all these things, because I also learned all these things and implemented in my production environment in bits and pieces. Somewhere I have learned cloud, somewhere I have learned this Jenkins, Ansible, somewhere I have learned on this Docker, Kubernetes, Docker Swarm. So it is not mandatory that being a DevOps engineer, you are going to get all these things into a single plate. Okay, so before into going, so you should understand how these all tools are integrated with each other. So you should understand how these all tools are interacting with each other, and at the same time also why I told this statement, especially because you shouldn't understand that each and every, whether this integration is dependent upon Git. No, it's not like that. Each and every tool is independent of each other, but when you integrating all these things to automate your entire infrastructure, so we need all these tools. Might be at the same time, I'm telling you, instead of Docker you will be getting Rocket, instead of this Kubernetes you will be getting Docker Swarm. So the tools will be different, but the concept infrastructure will be same. Guys, you are getting my point? Yes or no? Correct. This is the real thing I'll tell you. Okay, now coming back to here, in the left hand side you are able to see the developer D1, D2, D3, D4. Okay, so what is the job of this developer? So the job of this developer is nothing to create, okay, edit, save, and save the things again where they are going. So ultimately, being a DevOps engineer, it's your responsibility. So whatever the code is created by the developer D1, developer D2, developer D3, and developer D4 has to be stored in some place, has to be stored in a workspace, has to be stored in some local repository. So right then only in the next time whenever they are coming, suppose today they start coming and they start coding, okay, on some code. Suppose they started coding on a payment gateway. This particular developer D1 is working on a payment gateway. This developer D2 is working on a home page. This developer D3 is working on your login page. So all their work has to be saved somewhere, right? Correct. So that work is you are going to save where? So you are going to save in your local repository, guys. So this local repository is nothing but, this is your Git, this is your local machine, this is nothing but your virtual machine, this is your Linux operating system where you need to install this Git repository. So Git is nothing but, this is a workspace or an area where you need to store your where you need to store the work of this developer, guys. At the same time, why it is calling it as a version control tool? The reason behind that one, if any modification done by this developer, so this developer, it doesn't mean that when they create a file, okay, so ultimately when you create a repository inside the virtual machine, that is your EC2 instance, I'll show you each and everything. Okay, when you create an instance, on top of that, when you install this Git repository, just try to understand. So it's not like that this developer only create a file once. No, they will keep modifying the files, they will continuously modifying the file. So for that modification, how you are going to track, that is called your version control tool, guys. So the developer D1 is coming today, he started working on a file 1, again he came tomorrow, he was started working on the file 1 where he ended up, right? That is what, so you should be able to, as a DevOps engineer, you should be able to track those files, track his work. That is what I am telling you. It's a creating the thing, editing the things, saving the thing, and saving the thing again and again. That is what the continuous modification should be done by the developer into this Git local repository, and that has to be taken care by a DevOps engineer, being a DevOps engineer by you. And the other part is also what I am telling, who is going to install this Git repository. So as a DevOps engineer, you need to implement this entire Git repository on top of your Linux machine. But at the same time, you should have asked me a question, Abhishek, why you are calling it as a local repository, correct? That the question is there, right? Sarat, Aditya, Sarup, right? Why you are calling it as a local repository, and why GitHub you are calling it as a public repository? Okay, so just try to understand. So why I am calling it as a local repository, because some set of code developers are there which is working on a Mumbai region or a Bangalore region. Okay, so now the thing is all about security. Okay, all about privacy. At the same time, in the upcoming session, I'll explain you how we can segregate between these two developers, how we can maintain security between these developers also. But at the same time, when they start saving their work, they have to save in some local repository, in some local server. And from this server, you need to push his work to the global repository. Guys, you are getting my point. Okay. So once the work is saved to this local repository, to this Linux machine, to this Linux server, you need to push his work to the global repository. So this global repository is nothing but, this is like your public cloud. What is this public cloud? This public cloud is nothing but this one, this repository will be there. Okay, so normally if you are in an organization, so being a DevOps engineer, I have created my own public cloud, public repository. This is your GitHub only. Okay, so here also you are able to see this one. So now you need to tell me a few questions I am going to ask you. So where is this hosted? This particular server is hosted somewhere, right? Ohio, Singapore or somewhere, right? True, yes or no? Correct? Correct. So this particular server is hosted somewhere, correct? So if you want to connect to this server, okay, because I am in public network, I am outside, I am not in an organization. So this is why I have created a public repository, that is Git test is my repository. If you can go over here, you can see it out, guys. Okay, just come back over here. Are you able to see the repositories? I can show you. Okay. So you are able to see these many repositories, 6 repository I have created for the account, because this is also one interview question they are going to ask you. It's look like silly for you, but these are the interview question, guys. Okay, the interview question is what I'll tell you. So that guy has asked me, you have worked with your global repository. I'm still not talking about the local repository. I'm still talking about the global repository, guys. So you have worked with a global repository, that is nothing but your GitHub is there, that is your global repository. So it could be public, it could be private. Private when it will be, when you are working within an organization. So I am not an organization. Okay, so this is why I have created a public. When you create this account, so it will ask you whether you want to create a public account or whether you want to create a private account. So I have gone with the private public account, guys. But at the same time, the question over here is, so can you tell me whether the owner name will come first or whether the repository will come first in your GitHub? That's question he has asked. So if a guy has really worked with a Git repository, a global repository, he should know how to, where is, so this is nothing but this is the owner, and this is nothing but this is the repository name. It's look like a silly question, but this silly question they'll ask you. Guys, you are getting my point? Yes or no? Correct. So this is all about your public cloud. This is all about your global cloud. Means this is all about your GitHub. That is your, where you need to push later on. But before going into this one, there should be a local repository. That will be your Linux server. Correct. That will be your Linux server. That is, so how you are going to save this developer's work? So you need to install Git. Git is nothing but this is your local repository. You are going to create a local repository, a Linux machine. And how you are going to connect to this Linux machine? You should not be going to Ohio. You should not be going to London, or you are not going to Germany to connect to this server. If you want to connect to this local machine, you need to connect via CLI. You need to connect to via SSH. That is what called your PuTTY. That is what you called MovaXtern. We use it to connect to this Linux machine. And where we are going to host these things? You are going to host all these things into this AWS instance. Okay, here. So if you log into this particular, there will be a reason. Again, there will be a detailed session of these things. I'll explain you each and everything, how what all these instances are there, how to connect to these instances. Okay. So here you are able to see in this one right hand side. These are nothing but there are 20 regions in your AWS. Okay. So and this is EC2 service. If you go inside this EC2 service, you should be able to create your virtual machine, guys. So this will be your Linux machine. So that is going to be your local repository. And from this local repository, you need to push the work, all of your developer work into this global repository, that is this public cloud. Guys, you are getting my point. Now its picture is clear for the Git. Correct? Now coming back to over here, as a DevOps engineer, you need to do all the stuffs with this version control. You need to work, you need to maintain his work. Whenever he will do modification, whenever he do any deletion or anything, he is editing the code. Okay, you should make sure as a DevOps engineer, his work should be saved in this local repository, in this Git repository, that is nothing but a Linux or a Windows machine. Now once you are done with this one, your developer is working, okay, fine, they are continuously modifying the file, they are working continuously, you are saving their work, at the same time you are pushing their work to the GitHub. And now the next question you should have asked me, Abhishek, then what is the point of having this integration tool? You are directly showing this integration tool with this local repository. Okay, then what is of this global repository? So now again I'll tell you. So the set of developers, this developer D1, D2, D3 is working where? At Mumbai region. Okay, their work is saving to this local repository. Paytm is just a folder over here. This is your application name, and we need to create a folder inside your Linux operating system. And inside that, we need to install this Git repository, guys. Okay, so coming back to the point, once you save their work, okay, so finally, what I'm telling over here is, this particular, there is another set of developer who is sitting in Singapore. Okay, there is another set of developer who is sitting on Singapore, and they want this developer works because there is a dependency upon their work and these particular developers who are sitting on a Mumbai region, guys. Okay, so both of developers having their dependency. So how the developer who is at Singapore region is going to pull the work of these developers? So they are not going to pull the work. As a DevOps engineer, from this local repository, you need to push it to the public cloud, and at the same time, if you are working in an organization, this could be your private cloud, guys. So everything will be same, but only the private network will be there over there. And from there, again, you need to pull it to a local repository, being a DevOps engineer, and again from there, the developers who is working, they should be able to see the work, or they can directly see from this public cloud also. This is what, and their work also has to be pushed to this public cloud, or if they are working for an organization, it will be a private cloud, guys. You are getting my point? How the work sync up will be happen. Okay, this is how the sync up. Okay, this is why there is a huge demand of a DevOps engineer. See, only to maintain this Git only, we need so many DevOps engineers. Yes, they are asking just to maintain the Git administration. Recently, I have given an interview. Okay, they are just asking, have you worked with a Git administration? Simple question. Because see, this is one part I have explained you. When you learn all these things, you can see where you will stand. Okay, now the next thing, once this job as the developer, okay, is done with the code and whatever modification. So Jenkins is nothing but, again I am telling you, this is nothing but, this is a centralized tool, which is main job is to integrate all these tools together, guys. How it's going to integrate all these tools together? That is nothing but by creating some jobs. Okay, so inside Jenkins has so many capability, Jenkins has so many ability, okay, and Jenkins has so many features also. So Jenkins itself, it doesn't think that Jenkins is nothing. No, Jenkins is a tremendous tool, I am telling you. It has the ability to do the testing also. Okay, now understand over here. So first, Jenkins is going to pull the code from your Git repository. Jenkins is going to pull the code from the Git repository, and that technique is called it as a POLE-SCM. Again, I will be explaining in the Jenkins part this thing. Okay, POLE-SCM, this is the interview question they are normally going to ask in the interview. What do you understand by Jenkins? So POLE-SCM is nothing but, this is the technique where Jenkins is continuously monitoring to the Git repository, and it's going to see, is there any modification happened to the file or not? If any modification happened to the file, So it's going to pull that code again to the Jenkins machine. So Jenkins will do what? Jenkins will build different jobs. Okay, so these jobs will do different testing like compilation, code review, unit test, matrix check. So you understand that means the tremendous ability of this integration tool. So once it will do all the testing, it should do what? After the test will be completed, if Jenkins found that the code is up to the mark, code is having the strength, so that you can deploy that particular code. Just suppose the Jenkins has checking your application called Paytm application. Okay, Paytm. So they have checked the entire code of your Paytm application. This can, you can make it as a, just make it as a Paytm application only. So once the Paytm entire code, it has to go through different phases. Those phases are nothing but job 1, job 2, job 3. We need to build like that. One job is for compilation, another job is for code review, another job is for matrix check, another job is for unit tests. You can see the how many validations it do, and once it is going to found anything, any error or a bug, so being you are not being a DevOps engineer, it's going to generate a report. Jenkins is going to generate a report, and that report you need to give it to whom? That report you need to give it to this developer via mail or something. You need to inform them that your code is not up to the mark, you have missing some syntax, you have missing some modules. So this doesn't require, you no need to know any coding background for this one. Everything will be done by this Jenkins page. Okay, so you just need to automate the work, and for automation, those are the way. It's an absolute GUI tool. Jenkins is. This is not a CLI tool. Okay, I'll show you as each and everything. We can normally normally click here. You can drag and drop things will be there under this Jenkins machine. It's very simple and easy. It's all about understanding. Things are simple and easy. And once this Jenkins job is found out, if the error will be there, again given back to the developer. But again, the developer will do what? They will again modify the code which you are keeping in the Git repository. Again, so now you understand the automation, how it works. So if they do any modification, now you no need to do anything. Okay, the modification done, it will be automatically here, and from here it will be automatically fetched to your Jenkins machine. Jenkins will automatically see if any modification will be jobs will be running. Okay, automatically it will fetch the code from your Jenkins machine, and it will be append to the existing code. Okay guys, and again it will do the same testing all pages, and finally if this time if the test cases will be absolutely error free, bug free, then it will be given to the Maven. As I said, Maven is nothing but, Maven is your build tool. As I said very clearly, build tool is nothing but that application is in different files will be there. One index file will be there, login.file, payment file will be there, payment.html. So there are hundreds and thousands files will be there. So that file has to be a single, you need to package all those files into a single file, right guys? Like in Windows, you have a .exe file will be there. So once you click those exe file, where if you can, I can show you over here, just go to this program files here, Adobe only, just go to this Adobe. Okay, open this Adobe. Inside this one, it is not there. Come over here, go inside this one, check out anywhere. You can see .dll files. So ultimately, when you install Adobe, it will be a single file. But when you it will be untar. When it is open, so it will be divided into, these are the files, these are the codes. So same way here also, the code which we are given to Maven, it has to package into a single file. That is nothing but that is going to your tar file and war file. So this is why we are calling Maven as a build tool. It's like, again I am explaining the same thing. If you have to give some puri chapati, or if you have to give chutney or rice sambar to someone, how you are going to give him? You can just throw him to him, no, right? You just need to give him in a packet, right? Then only that guy should be able to accept. So this is how your application will be built, guys. This is all about the process. But you should have asked me a question, then what is the point of this testing over here? This I'll come later on. Okay, let me come to this part later on, guys. So once this particular code is built, your application.tar is nothing but, this is going to be your if Paytm.war file, like this one file, single file will be there, and that file you need to deploy where? That file has to deploy on top of your server. So these servers are nothing but, these servers are your containers, guys. Again I am telling, Docker is nothing but, Docker is your containers, and containers are nothing but, these are your servers. Okay, so how we can build these servers? So that is the important point, how we can build these containers over here. So we have some predefined images will be there. That is also we can download it from the Docker Hub. Again, in the Docker Hub, I'll be explaining you how we can download those predefined images. So those predefined images are nothing but those predefined images will be your Tomcat image, guys. Those predefined images are nothing but those images will be your Nginx images will be there. Okay, your server images will be there, and you need to do what? You have already installed Docker on some machine, on a server, on a EC2 instance, or a instance, or a virtual machine, where you just need to use up some command. You spin it up, your container is running, your Tomcat server is running. Okay, and on top of this Tomcat server, what you need to do? You just need to deploy this particular tar file and war file. That's it. Your application is up and running. See how easy this process is. And everything should be taken care by the DevOps engineer. But at the same time, I'm telling you are not going to get all these things into a single place. So this is why I'm explaining how it works exactly. So you need to integrate the one job, with dedicated job will be there. That job task is, again, it is done by the Jenkins only. That automation will be only done by the Jenkins. That I'll show you. There will be a job 5. That job 5 is nothing but that job 5 is going to deploy. That job name will be deploy your application. Like Paytm deploy. You need to give the job name Paytm deploy. And that job is directly deploying that particular war file and tar file into top of this container. And your application is up and running. Fine. This is what, guys. Now coming back to the next point, you should have asked me a question, Abhishek, then what is this Kubernetes and this Docker Swarm is there? As I said very clearly, so in a one machine will be there where you have installed Docker. On top of that, your containers are running, means your Tomcat server, Nginx, Jenkins, anything if you want to run, you can run it on top of this one. But the point is, some 100 containers are running. So one machine is not able to manage. So how you are going to control all these containers? So if you want to control all these containers, so you need a cluster. You need something which should be able to control these containers. So that orchestration tool is nothing but that is your Docker Swarm. So Docker Swarm is only going to support the Docker containers. It's not going to support any other kind of a container, guys. But what is the point of this Kubernetes? So Kubernetes is also going to do the same thing, but Kubernetes, if this Kubernetes is going to control these containers, so it's going to control any kind of a container. But the point is with Kubernetes is just, again, I'm telling you, it's a tremendous tool. Okay, without having in Docker Swarm, if you want to upgrade any of these containers, suppose Tomcat is running, okay, on top of the Tomcat, your build application, Paytm, you have installed Paytm.war, which is also running, but you need to upgrade this Paytm application at particular point of time, right? True? Yes or no, guys? Correct? So how you are going to upgrade? You need to take a downtime for that one. Okay, so that downtime is going to impact a lot. Suppose 50 lakhs user or 5 lakhs user is only hitting this particular Paytm application at which is running on top of this container only. So if you stop this containers, you just imagine how the impact will be, guys. So this impact will be huge, I'm telling you. So you cannot afford those things. So to manage, so this is why there is something called Kubernetes. So Kubernetes, by use of this Kubernetes, without having a single nanosecond downtime, just mark my word, guys. Okay, without having a single nanosecond downtime, you can upgrade your container from version V1 to V2 with the concept called rollback and rollout. These are the questions they are going to ask you in the interview, and these are the things I'll show you with purely hands-on. You just think where you'll stand after this complete course. So this is all about this. This is why this. But if you go with Docker Swarm doesn't have that feature. This is why Docker Swarm has restrictions. But still, people doesn't know about this Kubernetes. For a bigger infrastructure, we use this Kubernetes. People are still managing with the Docker Swarm for a smaller infrastructure, guys. That is what I am telling. Now this is all about, if you want to manage all this, if you want to control all this container, we have something called Kubernetes. Now there is something called this Ansible tool. Now, correct? But before going to this one, you should have asked me, Abhishek, why you have written testing over here? So this is why I am telling the job of a tester is at stake now. Honestly, the reason is, if a DevOps engineer is only able to do the testing of your application, then why you need a testing? Why you need a tester? But if you, some companies dedicatedly want a tester, then you can, even this Jenkins is that much capability that this is nothing but in this testing, you know, Selenium tool is there, right? Yes or no, guys? Correct? And you have heard these many days called Sonar Cube, right? This is one of the tool, is used for testing purpose only. Correct? So by use these tools also you can integrate with Jenkins, but in that case you need to bypass this Jenkins and you need to do a testing specifically with the SonarQube. So you can do the testing with this one also. So this is why in some organization they need a dedicated testers also. But in upcoming future, I must tell you honestly, I don't want to tell this thing, okay, but you can understand what I want to tell, guys. Okay, a tester job is at stake. This is why the testing peoples are moving to this DevOps. If DevOps engineer is only able to do these many tasks, he is able to manage this GitHub, this particular Jenkins, he is able to manage this Docker, which we were doing. See, understand the thing, guys, how much knowledge you are going to get. Virtualization, a dedicated team will be there. So containerization is nothing but it's coming from virtualization, right? So for cluster, there will be teams will be there. For managing the operating system, teams will be there. Okay. For managing the network, especially team will be there. But now everything is done by whom? Everything is taken care by a DevOps engineer. Now the next thing is, this is why if suppose if you want to go with testing, so you can integrate this SonarQube with this particular Jenkins machine, and you can do the same testing. If any error or bug will come, that has to go to the developers. Okay, but if it is successful, then again it has to given to the Jenkins, and from Jenkins it will be going to the Maven, and Maven is already there on top of your Jenkins machine. Okay, and it's going to build a tar file and war file, and the tar file and war file has to deploy to the C1, C2, C3 and C4, like that. Correct? Now the question is over here is, what is this Ansible tool? So this Ansible tool is nothing but, this is a configuration management tool. This configuration management tool is nothing but it's going to use for the provision, for the deployment, to start a service, to stop a service, that you can do it with this Ansible. And at the same time, I'll tell you, all these servers are running, Kubernetes, Docker Swarm, Docker, okay, Jenkins machine, if your Git repository, these all servers needs to be scale up, right, or scale down. Suppose any packages you need to install on any of these servers. So how you are going to install? You need to install with the help of this Ansible. Now understand, suppose in this container there are 100 Tomcat servers are running. Forget about Nginx. 100 Tomcat server, 100 Tomcat server means 100 Tomcat server containers are running, guys. So if you have to stop some 10 Tomcat server, or if you have to start some 20 Tomcat server, so how you are going to do? Are you going to do that thing manually? No, not at all possible, right, guys? So you need to write a particular script. That script, again I am telling you, it's not a coding, it's not a scripting language like your shell scripting, your Python or your PHP or your Java or anything. It's a normal YAML file will be there, and YAML file is nothing but this is used for data translation, for data serialization. Means if you want to configure something, if you want to transmit something, there will be a specific syntax will be there with these playbooks. We can write it down and you can execute it, and you can start all those Tomcat server and you can stop all those Tomcat server at a single instance. Even if you want to configure something with the help of those playbooks, we can use it. Once you install this Ansible with these playbooks, you can do all those stuff. Clear? Now the last thing is, you need to understand there is something called what? There is something called monitoring tool, guys. So this entire infrastructure is running. Okay. So you need something to monitor. Correct? How you are going to monitor? So if you want to monitor this entire thing, so you need a monitoring tools. Okay. Whether it's a Ansible server, whether it's a Kubernetes, Docker Swarm, Docker, Jenkins machine, Git, GitHub. So anything abnormal happened to this entire system, that has to be monitored by some monitoring tool. So this monitoring tool is going to warn you, this monitoring tool is going to alert you that you should be taken care of this system before it's going to be the worst situation, or this system is going to behave abnormal or in hung state, or it's going to crash. So those tools are nothing but, those tools are calling it as a Nagios. If you want to, suppose in this Docker, your CPU utilization is high. For this, some of the containers, your RAM is high. In this Kubernetes, something is high, means your CPU, your disk, your RAM. So how you are going to monitor your metrics monitoring, all those things. So with the help of this monitoring tool, so I'll show you CloudWatch how to deploy. This is a AWS monitoring tool. Okay, and there is Nagios deployment also. I can show you other parties also. The thing is, guys, over here is you have heard about Kibana, Prometheus. So these all works in the same principle. Its main job is to surveillance. Its main job is like a CCTV camera. So this is all about, this is how we can integrate this integration tool together, guys. You are getting my point, or you guys are confused, or it's going above your head? Yes or no? Any doubt till now? And this each and everything we are going to see in depth, hands-on. So we'll start with the GitHub. This is how these tools are integrated with each other. And this is how the interview question they are going to ask you in the interview, guys. Okay, just draw. They'll give you pen, and they have given me pen and paper. So how you can integrate Git with your Jenkins? How you can integrate your Jenkins with Maven? How the entire Docker? Can you show me? Can you show me how? So it's all about your visualization. It's all about, if you really have done all these things, then only you'll be able to understand. But at the same time, if you only get something, if you don't know something, that how these tools are working together, so you will be only at a well. You are not in the ocean. It's all about ocean, guys. If you want to understand this ocean, so you need to be in ocean. So if you are at Docker, so you will be in well only. So you don't know what's exactly happen outside. You just know the work, what you need to do. That's it. If you exactly want to know how these tools are working together, so then you need to understand the entire. So don't forget this diagram. I'm telling you, if you forget this diagram, don't do DevOps. I'm very honest with the things. Okay. Because if you understand this one, you can relate anything from anywhere. Nobody can touch you. You know how the developers are working. Now you understand, right? Where they are keeping their work. How as a DevOps engineer, you need to take his work. You need to save his work. So one part we need to go through. Like this will be one part. This is how we'll go through, guys. Okay. Entire this part will be, I need to go. Entire one Jenkins will be one proper session will be dedicated. Again, I'll be explaining the same thing, but you need to keep this diagram in the mind. Clear? So this is all about the introduction part we have done with this one. Now we can directly start with this version control tool.